The genocide in Gaza is personal for me. The scholasticide in Gaza is personal for me too. I'm going to be telling you the stories of around 10 young people in Gaza, stories of extraordinary learning, but I've also got a personal story to tell you at the beginning. And this is the story of a school in northern Gaza, Beit Hanun Elementary School. And this is me visiting the school in 2018, and their brilliant teacher, Hannah Mansour, who ran a very successful drama club in this school. And we did masses of online link-ups with that drama club. They performed plays remotely. They did lots of online link-ups, the kind of things that we do in the Hands Up project around the world. This is what happened to the school in 2023, in December 2023. The most painful thing for me watching that is that that was shared widely by the IOF and celebrated widely, that that school, that place of learning had been destroyed. That's all the time I'm going to give to that. The rest of the talk I'm going to be focusing on stories of extraordinary learning. I want to focus on these three qualities that I think make up extraordinary learners: an urge to tell your story, linguistic bravery, and linguistic self-consciousness. And I think when there's an interaction between these qualities, something very interesting can happen. So, for instance, when we have an urge to tell our story, but we are brave, we make do with what we have. We don't worry too much about being completely accurate in what we're saying. When we have an urge to tell our story, but we are linguistically self-conscious, we want to get it right. And that's also a useful skill, a useful quality of extraordinary language learners. And when we have linguistic bravery and linguistic self-consciousness, we have this feeling of, we feel the fear, but we do it anyway. Do you remember that book? I've never read it, but I'd like to. But I think it might apply to language learners in many ways. So, let's focus on some of these stories. The first person I'd like to focus on is Rahaf. This is Rahaf in 2022 in Belfast. She was 14. Can't remember, I can't work out the maths on it. But she had just won our intercultural remote theatre competition, and she'd gone to Belfast to re-perform her play with her two friends from Gaza, Yara and Malak, and with other two friends from the Czech Republic. They'd made an intercultural remote play together, and they re-performed their play in a school in Belfast. And this is what Rahaf had to say at the end of the performance in front of parents, teachers, the whole school.
Today is my best day in my life because today I sent my message for the whole world. I'm Palestinian. I can achieve my dream. Nobody can stop me. Nobody. I can achieve, and I will achieve my long-term achievements. Goodbye.
After a week in Belfast, Rahaf had developed a Belfast accent. She could understand people better than I could in Belfast. She was, the other kids in the school would hold her hand and walk around with her. She became a celebrity in the school, and it's largely down to the fact that she's one of the most charming and open people I've ever met. She just talks to everybody wherever they are and doesn't worry about language level. She's now still in Gaza. She had a heart attack 2 weeks ago. She's 18 years old. She's caring for her dad, who's been shot and is in hospital, and she cares for her nephews and nieces because her brother has been killed. The next person I want to focus on is Ahmed Kuhail. And I want to focus on this urge to document what has happened, because that exists in Gaza. It's huge. The urge to tell the world what has happened. So Ahmed has written this book. Well, first of all, let me tell you, this is Ahmed in 2017, when he was about 9, I think, and he acted in a play called Hope. And it says there, this is Gaza, the land of Saw. So already at that age, children are wanting to share or document what has happened in Gaza, the story of Gaza with the rest of the world. This is Ahmed now. He's in the UK, and he's just written this e-book, which is available on our website to buy. And I'm going to read you this extract. I don't know if you can see it at the back, but I'm going to read it to you. My father went again and brought back a can of fava beans, a can of tuna, and a bag of milk. He returned triumphant, only for my mother to whisper, "This milk is not good for the baby." My father said, "Let it be." For suhoor, we would manage somehow. Just before dawn, we awoke to my mother's cries. We went to the kitchen and asked what had happened. She said, "Look at the can of fava beans. There's nothing in it except water." So we had time for suhoor, T-H-Y-M-E. We had time for suhoor and decided to leave for the southern Gaza Strip in the morning. But God had another plan. As I understand it, Ahmed wrote that book in Arabic and then worked using whatever translation tools he could find to translate it into English, and then worked with me to edit it. So there's a learning experience going through the translation. The next person I'd like to tell you about is Nada Alalul. This is Nada in 2019, acting as the father of this girl in a play called Marah. This is Nada 2 years ago when we held our Hands Up Project conference in the Brighton Quaker Meeting House just around the corner. Nada did something quite remarkable, I think. On the second day after the bombing of Gaza started, she decided she would learn Spanish. She knew no Spanish whatsoever, nothing, not a word. But she decided that she wanted to learn Spanish, and she did that because she felt that there might be English-speaking people. Spanish is a huge language in the world, and there might be people who didn't speak English who she could share the story with. And this is a video that I've taken from a Zoom session where Nada spoke about this experience for her.
Okay. Soy Nada, una chica palestina de Gaza, y quiero compartir mi mensaje contigo al mundo. Cuando vea mi ciudad ser bombardeada y muerta de hambre, comencé a sufrir bajo estos tiempos difíciles. Empecé a aprender español y todavía lo mejoré. ¿Qué es lo que quiero entregar al mundo? Es que los palestinos son la definición de resiliencia y vida. Somos personas súper talentos con grandes metas, logros, por lo que la idea de que tenemos que decir que somos humanos y mostrarle al mundo que es realmente un hecho, es realmente dolorosa para nosotros. Que el mundo nos vea como humanos, no como números y noticias. Lo único que queremos es paz, es cesar el fuego y la guerra de inmediato. Necesitamos que la gente haga lo que dice en las conferencias porque las acciones hablan más que las palabras. Los derechos humanos pueden salvarnos. Si podemos salvarlos de ser asesinados en Gaza, así que no nos olvides. Creo que cualquier cosa que hagas para apoyarnos marcará la defensa. Muchas gracias a todos.
Yeah. She was joined there by Dede, a volunteer, a Hands Up Project volunteer who's in Argentina. And so within a couple of months, she was regularly sharing videos of herself speaking in Spanish about the situation on Instagram and Facebook. She's now in the US, she's managed to get out of Gaza. She's now studying in the US. She's won a scholarship. The next quality I want to focus on is this urge to create. And those of us who've been involved in the Hands Up project will know that that's something very common in the students that we work with and in the teachers. This is Hala Umduk. She sent me this picture about 2 weeks ago, and she's standing in front of her destroyed house that she'd just gone back to. And she was staying with her grandfather and just went to visit her destroyed home. She's contacted me pretty much every day since the genocide started. And she's often said, I've written a poem, can I read it to you? And I'm going to share a poem that she wrote. But I first want to say this to you, that she called me up and said, Nick, I've written a poem, can I read it to you? And she read the poem, and I said, that's an amazing poem. And then I said, how are you? And she said, well, I'm not great. My house has been bombed. There's 17 of us living in one room of the house now, and we've barely eaten for 3 days. But Hala chose, the first thing she wanted to say to me was that I've written a poem. And it's a love poem. And here's the poem, and this is Hala reading the poem in her words. It's called, I love all of this unconditionally.
I love my little things. I love the color of coffee, the autumn leaves falling gently, as if they were whispering an apology. I love the color of my nails, my hair, scattered on the pillow, a memory that never leaves. I love the end of the road, that's silent after arriving. I love the color blue, the colors of flowers. I love people, even animals, even the stars. I love all of this unconditionally. I love waking up to the song of bird, running late to school. I love black and white. I love being noisy, mischievous, my silent, the one that kills. I love my homeland. I love being the first in line, receiving the smallest things, noticing people's details, and that old woman smile. I love all of this unconditionally. I love my hard days, my embarrassing moment. I love books and ink. I love anger and the color red. I love my mother necklace and all of this all of this. I love all of this unconditionally.
I don't need to say anything because I know that you're feeling it, because I'm... that book is published in this, that poem is published in this book, From Dust We Rise, which is available here. So poetry, there's a long history of Hands Up supporting young people in writing poems. I want to focus a little bit on this idea of linguistic bravery now and share the poem of the first Hands Up project student that was killed. So Fatima Saidem was killed on the 18th of October 2023 with her entire family on an airstrike that destroyed her home and killed her entire family. In the spring of 2023, she wrote this poem, which I'll read to you, and I feel like it's a poem that pretty much, well, there's somebody in the White House who I would like to read this poem and to take it into his heart. I don't think it will happen, but we can dream. Eyes are for looking and seeing sun, tongues are for greeting and saying fun, legs are for walking slowly and also run, hands are for shaking with friends, not for shooting gun. And one of the things about the poetry in this book, this is our first collection of poems, Moon Tell Me Truth, so many of them contain, what we might, as teachers, think of as incorrect English. You could look at hands are for shaking with friends, not for shooting gun, as a missing article. But you could also look at it as seeing gun as a non-countable noun, as an uncountable noun. And there are lots of young people in Gaza for whom that is true, I would say. Gun is an uncountable noun. So look at all these examples, all these beautiful, beautiful examples of incorrect English, which move us. I'll just pick out this one, written also by a 9-year-old. Beauty is in heart, is in soul, not in tall or small. That's important words. The whole book is called Moon Tell Me Truth, not Moon Tell Me the Truth. Another thing that Safa mentioned in her talk was the letter exchange that we have. We now have that with lots of countries around the world. And when I was in Cuba in May last year, I had lots of letters written by Cuban children. And Bessan in Gaza, who's still in Gaza now, she's 15 now, she wrote a reply to a letter that she received from a child in Cuba. And I think this quality is a very important quality of extraordinary language learners, prioritizing meaning over accuracy. These are the words, I don't know if you can see them at the back, I'll read them out to you. Thank you. When read the letter, feel joy and happy. The words you, kind and feel strong when see letter. I feel sad, you letter make happy. That's bravery to write that, and we all understand it, we're all moved by it, and yeah, no, that's not... So, kind of in conflict with that, we have linguistic self-consciousness. And I want to share with you a picture of Malak, who's a student in the Hands Up Project has an educational space in Cairo now for children who've escaped from the genocide. And this is Malak, who's 10 years old. And one morning, she came to school. I spent a month in Egypt at the beginning of this year, and she gave me this note. She gave me this piece of paper that she'd written, and it says, "Oh, Mr. Nick, you light guides me. You teach me English with a kind and lovely heart. You make me love the language and enjoy the details. Thank you." Now, I think that's probably the nicest message I've ever received from a student, but it's also a very powerful reflection on what you need to do to learn a language and what we should be doing as teachers. You know, wouldn't it be great if we've kind of done the job, haven't we? If we can make people love the language and enjoy the details of the language, job done, right? So, words of wisdom from Malak there. Another point related to this idea of linguistic self-consciousness is an openness to noticing chunks of language. We all know people who try to learn languages by writing lists of words that they've found in a book, and that word, and then they write the translation of it, individual words. But again, through the letter writing project with Bangladesh this time, Rahaf received a letter from her pen pal in Bangladesh, and she obviously received the letter. It was beautiful that she received the letter, and she was very happy to get the letter, but she also used it to notice chunks of language, take a lot of courage, touch my heart. And I think it's interesting that she reflected on the fact that those were similar chunks in Arabic as well. So a very good learning strategy. So just quickly going through some other students. So we've got Taline here. And what do you do? In the plenary, in the opening plenary this morning, we had this beautiful work by Richard and Danny about, you know, reformulating what students say, giving more accurate models. What do you do in a context where you don't have those models of language? So here's the course book, English for Palestine, that they're still using in some contexts, in some schools, in some kind of online schools in Gaza. And Taline got in touch with me and said, look, there's this text in our course book. Would you send me a WhatsApp message with you recording yourself saying it so that I can hear it? And you know, what I find interesting about that is it's an awareness about the need for chunking the language appropriately, finding where the pauses are. It's a very good strategy for language learning, isn't it? To kind of find models for yourself of language. And that's kind of taken even further with two more students who are in the Cairo space. That's Mara and Lama. And Mara, I asked Mara how she got such a good level of English. And she said she uses this technique called shadowing. I'm sure lots of you are familiar with this. And it seems to be a very common technique for successful language learners around the world. So what she does is she finds a YouTube video that she likes, she tries to say it with the speaker, and then she gradually turns the volume down so it's just her saying it. And Lama also does that, but she does it with songs. So she told me about this person I've never heard of called Rose. Anybody know Rose? I've got a different idea about Rose when I hear that word. But this is the song that she said is her favorite song, and she can sing it like Rose can. So, I'm going to put all this together now. I'm going to suggest that doing a play is a way to put all of those things together. And I want to tell you the story of, still have students in Gaza throughout the genocide. People have been making plays. I want to tell you the story about Bassem, a very special person in the Hands Up project. Here he is, just been dragged out of the rubble with a broken leg by his friends. This wasn't recently, though. This was in 2014, when Bassem was 9? Something like that, yeah. And that was in the 2014 bombing of Gaza. In 2018, Bassem made an iconic Hands Up project play called I Can. And it ends with him walking towards the camera, and it's revealed, I am a human. In January 2024, Bassem got in touch with me and said, I'd like to remake this play with the original cast. I want to make the play again with the same people. And at this time, he was displaced, living in Rafah in a tent. This is the play. I'll end with this. It's now called We Can.
Yes, I could see them. Yes, I could see them. Yes, I could see them. I could see them. Yes, I could see them. But where are you, my dear friend? Where are you, my dear friend?
We are here.
Coming, coming. Quickly, quickly, coming. Look, can you see? Look, can you see?
I can't see anything. What are you looking at?
Wow, look at our dreams there. They are coming around. Can you see?
Tell me again. What are you looking at?
So our dreams, they come closer to us.
Yeah, they are coming. They are coming.
Yeah.
Just step forward to look clearly for them.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is just to look well.
What dreams are you talking about?
Dia, here in Gaza, don't dream.
Because dreams here are dying. Why? 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 Tell me why? Tell me why?
Do you want to know why?
Yeah.
Haven't you seen those destroyed houses? Haven't you seen the massacres that happen daily? Haven't you seen the hospitals and the healthy facilities that is destroyed everywhere? Didn't you see that everyone doesn't support you?
No. No. Why are you pessimistic? Why are you pessimistic? We emerged from the rubble strong. My friends, we suffer, but we born again from the womb of suffering.
Yeah. Stay away from illusion. You are here like a dead person and you can't achieve anything. Everything is destroyed. Everything is over.
No. No.
Do you want to know who you are in everyone's eyes? You are here in Gaza, a human animal. Yes, a human animal, and you can't achieve anything.
No. I can achieve what I actually say. Because I am a human, like other people.
Okay, prove to us that you can do it.
Okay, okay. I'll become a doctor. Yes, I'll become a doctor. Okay, okay. I can live here peacefully. Yes, I can live here peacefully. Okay, okay. I can travel. Yes, I can travel. No, I can. I can. Yes, I can. Yes, yes.